world where social media communities can feel as real as physical communities, experiences and challenges can also be similar. With a growing number of people striving to be online influencers, many, including young women, are falling under the influence of an excessive and risky amount of social media use in search of viewers and followers. Hello, I'm Oriani Tangishaka, and welcome to this week's episode of Our Voices. On today's program, we'll examine the potential dangers and benefits of being on social media. We'll look into the advantages and challenges of being a social media influencer. We'll hear from some female influencers about their journeys. We'll also hear from experts and authors following closely the psychological effects of being under the influence of social media. Last but not least, we'll look at the role of big tech companies that create and manages the different online platforms. We begin with some of the advantages and reasons why some young women are choosing social media platforms for their everyday activities. My colleague Paul Ndiho had a chance to travel to Accra, Ghana, and met Rachel Apusiani, a young lady nicknamed the Instagram Queen in her neighborhood of Achimota.
23-year-old Rachel Apusiani is a law student at the University of Ghana in Accra. She is a budding businesswoman and the creator and lead designer of her own label, Bonnet Haven.
But I started when I was 21. My parents will send you allowance. That's what I used to start my bonnet with: 20 pieces, paper bags, and an Instagram page, and a photo shoot.
Known in her neighborhood of Achimota, a town in the Accra Metropolitan District, as the Instagram Queen, she has become an internet sensation.
And from June till date, we've sold close to 1,000 pieces.
It wasn't until Apusiani took a professional photography class and learned how to take and post professional pictures on her Instagram page that people started taking her seriously. Building a Bonnet Haven has been tough for Apusiani, but with help from her family, a support network of other women entrepreneurs, her trusted delivery guy, she is optimistic that things will get better.
Before, I had a page, but the pictures were very unprofessional. It was just camera shots. But the minute I posted professional ones, people took interest because I appeared serious. That's okay, I know what I'm about. And that's how it started. But it's not been without help.
She hopes that one day her product will be in the hands of millions of new customers. Franklin Owusu-Pakari, Director of Business Support and Policy at the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Programs, a government initiative to empower young people, says entrepreneurs like Rachel have a unique opportunity to grow their business and make money.
When your business fails, that's a good opportunity for you to backtrack and assess yourself where you went wrong and bounce back again. Then you can be able to, because the failures, the mistakes I made in my first business, I have to be able to avoid them with the new businesses that I've set up. And for the last 10 years, our businesses have been able to stand the test of time.
Africa has one of the world's fastest growing telecom markets, and analysts say internet-based mobile solutions are helping boost development and growth on the continent. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
Now, though parents may worry much about the amount of time their children spend on social media, others are content with those platforms which help to keep them learning during lockdowns caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. VOA's Mariama Diallo gives us an example of how using social media platforms such as Twitter, WhatsApp, and Instagram has offered free online classes to about 1,000 students or more in Nigeria.
With extended pandemic lockdowns, Basirat Ajayi decided she had to do something to help her struggling students who have been unable to go to school for months.
I do short video of it, a mathematics class. I send it to them, like 3-minute videos, 5 minutes maximum. I send it to them. Then they watch the video, they respond to it. Then I send classwork an assignment.
Using social media platforms such as Twitter, WhatsApp, and Instagram, she offers free online math classes to about 1,000 students from all over Nigeria, including 17-year-old Fortune Declan.
I'm watching a video from the online math class now.
Now other students, including one from Canada, are also joining her sessions.
Originally, when I started learning differentiation on my own, it was kind of twitchy. But when I joined the online maths platform, I started learning differentiation rapidly.
Ajayi says while COVID has had a negative impact on people's lives, it pushed her to figure out creative ways to keep going.
The positive impact is that we can use technology to teach our students now, and which I'm very, very happy about.
The coronavirus pandemic forced many parents to lose their jobs, causing them to struggle to make a living and pay for the technology needed by their children to access online classes. Franca Declan is a parent.
Not all can afford the data, and not all parents can also afford the phone to give to their child to go for the online lessons.
When the 36-year-old teacher started her classes, she would use white sheets of paper to solve math problems and then videotape the steps. That changed after a parent donated a whiteboard for her to use. Mariama Diallo, VOA News.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll introduce you to some female influencers on the continent who may inspire you to live your best life online as well as make money off of it. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
We're bringing women's voices to the conversation, and more than that, we're building a community of inclusion and empowerment.
Here in Kinshasa, campaigns to raise awareness against the spread of coronavirus are common, but getting that information to people who have no access to water, electricity, or money can be a challenge.
We are here at Kalerwe Market in Uganda, Kampala, where in this whole market, women are crying out for their situations to change.
For women, it will be better for us.
I think a big thing for me is just being able to say that when these protests are happening, does it turn around into policy?
Our kids are raped every single day.
This movement got the government to listen. It really was powerful because it showed what is possible when men and women band together and say enough is enough.
It's not necessary anymore to climb on a car. I can be in any place to cheer with the people.
Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices. I'm Oriani Tangishaka. We're discussing the risks and benefits, advantages and disadvantages of social media platforms, especially as an influencer. Sylvia Njoki, an influencer in the East African nation of Kenya, pulls us into her world with stunning images of her life as a model and a traveler around the world, exploring its beauty one country at a time, sometimes with her young daughter. She spoke to me from Nairobi right after a trip in the countryside. I began asking her what made her become a content creator.
I was working as a fashion stylist for a long time, and I was lucky to style some of the top celebrities in Kenya, some big TV shows at the time. That was about 9 years ago. But when I got pregnant, it was very impossible for me to work or give my styling profession 100%. So I started taking pictures with the outfits I was wearing, my maternity clothing, the little things I was making for my daughter. And that's how I launched my blog. And through my love for fashion, fashion has always been the core of what I do online.
Since then, you have about 100,000 or more viewers and followers. How do you manage to keep them coming? And is that a tough job to do?
I think that if you're true to yourself and you post what is genuinely true to you and authentic, then the people who are drawn to you genuinely will stay. So as much as, financially, you sometimes have to look at the numbers. For me, I find it very draining looking at the numbers, but more rewarding to see how my content is impacting people, and 3 people who tell me that I've made their day or I've inspired them to visit a place. I think that's more rewarding for me.
So how do you balance your life as a mom, as an influencer, as someone who's in the media?
Luckily, I have my daughter who's very keen in what I'm doing in terms of photography and videography. So I do take her along with me to work sometimes. I try to balance that part of my life with her. If I can bring her with me on a trip, I'll bring her. If she can take pictures of me at home, then she'll do that. So I try to involve her in my career. I do make time for my friends as well. We are in the digital space. We are able to stay online and contact each other and stay connected. So as much as it's not very easy to meet them face to face, we are connected with my family, and you just make time for things that really matter to you, I guess.
Lately, there's been things in the medical field, worries in the medical field that children or young people are developing tics, for instance, from being so much on TikTok. Do you worry about that, or do you think that she'll grow to have a balanced amount of use of the internet and social media?
I do try and protect her. I got her off TikTok a year ago when she told me, when she only had like 4 followers, who were all girls in her class. And she said, "Oh, Mommy, could you please ask people to follow me? I don't get any likes." And I'm like, "Oh no, maybe this is not the right thing. If you're 7 years old and you're concerned that you're not getting as many likes as your 4 friends on TikTok." I just thought it was a place for her to express herself creatively. And she's old enough for me to have conversations and show her what's happening on the internet with, the bad, the good, and the bad that's happening online to not just children, but even to adults. So I do try to make her aware of these conversations. And, we can only protect them so much when they're in our spaces. They're out there, they have friends, but I think having these conversations with them gives them a sense of awareness. And
what would you give as an advice to young women who are coming up and, as you said, could actually make it a job and an income? What would be one of your advices?
I think it's a good thing when it starts off as a hobby. When you do something, whether you're cooking and you do it for fun, or you love dressing up, or you love taking photos of your neighborhood or your friends, when it starts off as a hobby, that is the most beautiful thing. Because when people start paying you to do what you love, there's nothing more rewarding. And sometimes I get so tired doing photo shoots, but at the end of the day, it's what I love. And I'd rather be tired doing what I love than being paid to. I always tell my friends this: I have a degree in food science and technology. I say, oh, I'm so much happier being paid doing photo shoots rather than standing in a food factory or a food lab all day.
Now we go to Uganda. I spoke to none other than Zahara Toto, also known as DJ Zato, a woman whose energy is unmatched when it's time for action online or offline. I met her 2 years ago in Kampala, was impressed by her energy, work ethic, as well as passion for everything she does as an entertainer. DJ Zato has an army of more than 500,000 followers just on Instagram. She's a TV and radio presenter at NBS and Next Radio. She spoke to me from the studios in Kampala right after her midday show. I began asking her if she predicted the large following she has today.
I grew up a social person. I've always been on TV. I've always been on radio. I was raised for that. I was raised for being on the media platforms. So I never thought that social media would contribute that so much to my career and my path. The greatest advantage is that I've got an opportunity to showcase my work, my line of business on social media.
Now, companies must be behind you all the time wanting to do advertisement with you. How do you handle that dozens of requests? I mean, do you have people helping you, or do you manage all of that?
Well, I don't have anybody helping me as of now. Being a social media influencer in my country, Uganda, is kind of hard and difficult. It's so hard to trust somebody to run your accounts for you. Yeah, so you find yourself doing all this work by yourself. And I'm okay with it, Orion. I'm alone and I'm okay with it.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
You're a superwoman, I tell you. You have faithful followers. What are some of the tips you can give women influencers, young women influencers who are coming up on the scene and they want to be where you are, even beyond?
All right, now, first and foremost, you gotta find your niche. Orion, you got to find that one ground. That's something that you love most, yeah? Something that you really love, because once you love that something, once you wanna do it on a daily, you're going to do it with consistency. And consistency is key if you are a social media influencer. So consistency on content Yeah, on content, on whatever you want to push. Is it your lifestyle that you want to show people out there? Is it your work? Is it your business, your product? What exactly do you want the world to see out there? You have to find a social media calendar. Like I said, consistency is key. No matter what you do, you have to align your content. You cannot post 1,000 contents in a day and tomorrow you have nothing to post. So you have to draw your influencing calendar, and that will be good for you. The other thing is you have to choose a platform. Yeah, you have to choose a platform. You might choose any platform, like you might find your energies are bigger on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Yet on TikTok and Snapchat, your energy is not there. So focus where your energy, where your followers, your fan base is. Focus on what your fans really, really, really love, and that will make you successful.
Do you ever feel maybe I've influenced people in the wrong way? I didn't mean this particular post. What do you do then?
Yeah, sometimes I go overboard. But you know that overboard that I go, I'm actually the me that the social media doesn't know. That's actually the me. So even though I post something or influence something in a negative manner or in a wrong way, or maybe somebody or the crowd or my followers take it in a wrong way, Orion, I think I'm portraying the me people don't know, and I'm okay with it. And I don't feel bad about showing them that other side of me. It's me being human on social media. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm okay and open to criticism.
We have social media influencers that are also parents, and they're also single moms that are also doing other things. How do you strike a balance?
First and foremost, my kids know my line of business. They know my line of job. They never intervene with anything concerning me and my work. They know it brings food on our plates. It provides a good, healthy living for themselves. So they never intervene in any way. And being a mother and a social media influencer, I've also tried to influence a lot of mother in Africa, in my country. You know, being a strong mother in my country is very hard. Having 3 kids and no husband and no boyfriend, just one job is not easy. So I've used my influencing work and my pages to influence and empower young women in my country. Orion, I feel very powerful. I feel very good when I do that for the young ladies out there, and they are so proud of me. Same applies for my children. They are so proud of me.
We have to take another quick break, but when we come back, we discuss the dangers to produce content at all costs. Pressures causing some to wonder whether some are influencers or are under the influence of social media. We bring you a story of an Instagram influencer who recently faced backlash after posing in front of her deceased father's casket. We also talk to an author who's following closely the phenomenon of young women developing tics from TikTok. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices. Now, an influencer is someone who can promote a brand or make a brand out of their lifestyle by using social media such as Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram to influence followers to buy into that lifestyle. Now, what about those who some people view as personalities under the influence of social media, doing the most in search of viewers and followers? Some even are developing what clinicians are calling functional lactic behavior. Now, to discuss this very worrisome health report, I spoke to author and blogger Heather Carter. Mrs. Carter writes extensively about addiction as well as what she calls diseases of the soul.
I think for me, I was just astounded that you can develop a physical type of disorder from repeatedly watching these TikToks.
Mm-hmm. Now, in a Wall Street Journal article, writer Julie Jargon explains the tic phenomena this way. The movements are sociogenetic, meaning they are developed socially but have a profound and real neurological effects. Patients had physical jerks such as neck twitching or were compulsively and involuntarily repeating words like beans. Why beans?
They don't even explain the beans. I'm not sure why beans got in there, but obviously what we think about, we bring about. If we're watching things over and over, and that's why I love the idea of ruminating on scripture, memorizing things that God has for us to hear, because those things are eventually going to come out also. But we have to insert that information more often and more regular than what the things we're seeing on TV or social media or with our friends. It's not just social media's fault. We're the ones who have to control what's going in.
So could that be precisely what we're talking about? Influencers and those under the influence.
Well, and that is the thing that really hit home, because I just came out with my new book called Soul Selfie, #NoFilter. And it's my second book. My first one's just called Soul Selfie. But it's the idea that we turn that camera back around on our own souls and take a look what's going on in there. And when I realized how people are being physically affected by the repetition of TikToks and other things from social media, it really makes me think about what's going on. That came after what started happening in here. So how many things are happening to women by what they watch, and how we're comparing ourselves to things that aren't even real. We know they're not real, but we still seem to base our identity often on what we see on social media.
Heather, can you explain to us what you mean by diseases of the soul, which could be what some are going through or experiencing on the internet?
Well, one of the things that I learned from my leukemia journey is that God just said, Heather, you are a full-time job. And that meant that I needed to turn that camera back around and look at the things that were going on in me. So diseases of the soul, or common plagues of the heart, as I call them, are worry, fear, resentment, control, image management, comparison, jealousy, just to name a few. And I found that I'm not the only one who has those diseases. And unfortunately, they are chronic. And my goal in writing is to help you know that you're not alone in your struggles and that there's always hope.
And so in your view, the internet has been where most people have been going to trying to find solutions to those diseases of the soul that you talk about in your writing?
People are looking to the wrong sources for those answers. Even though it seems like we're really all connected, we're really isolated, because those aren't real. We see real pictures on social media, but they are not, it's not the real world. We only see a snapshot of their day and it looks perfect. But you didn't see the fight before the shot, and you didn't see the argument after the shot was taken, but we're comparing ourselves to that cute little picture.
We now bring you the story that recently raised a lot of eyebrows. An influencer or someone under the influence of social media? Well, we'll let you be the judge. A young woman in Florida, here in the United States, recently faced harsh criticism after posing in front of her deceased father's casket and posting it on Instagram. 24-year-old Jane Rivera shared photos of her posing next to her father's open casket at his funeral. She was wearing what some considered to be a sexy black suit. Now, in some of the pictures, she appeared to be content of the images, even smiling in some of them. Now, many people took it to Twitter and commented extensively about her pictures and videos, trying to make sense out of them. Here's what some had to say. When you surround yourself daily with people who do nothing but tell you how awesome and hot you are, and everything you do is perfect, then this makes perfect sense. Oh my God, this is the exact representation of a hollow generation, sick with social networks, empty, just looking for approval. These Instagram influencers can do anything for looking good and for some followers. Shame on such people. According to NBCnews.com, in an interview with them, Mrs. Rivera said that she, quote unquote, understood the negative reception, but clarified by stating that the photos were taken, and I quote, with the best intentions, in the manner my father would have approved had he still been alive. Let us know what you think about Mrs. Rivera's social media post about her deceased father's pictures and videos. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle is at VOA Our Voices. We are also on WhatsApp. Our number is right there on your screen. Now, last but not least, some may ask, what is the role of big tech companies who create and run the social media platforms? Facebook was recently in the hot seat again. A Wall Street Journal report cites internal knowledge of its harmful effect and the company's unwillingness to act. A whistleblower, a former Facebook employee, came out in public in October to testify against the social media company, only adding to the scrutiny. VOA's Tina Trim tells us more.
Facebook, the social networking giant that also owns Instagram and WhatsApp, is in the spotlight once again.
I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy.
Frances Haugen worked at Facebook for 2 years as a project manager, but has since become known as the Facebook whistleblower. Haugen testified at a Senate hearing about what she says is an intentional lack of action and transparency by the company and its related apps, such as Instagram. She said Facebook algorithms tend to promote falsehoods faster than the truth, citing misinformation campaigns that have spread in the U.S. and abroad.
The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
According to Facebook's own study, 32% of teenage girls on Instagram said that when they felt bad about their bodies, the site made them feel worse.
Facebook knows that its amplification algorithms, things like engagement-based ranking on Instagram, can lead children from very innocuous topics like healthy recipes, just something innocent like healthy recipes, to anorexia promoting content over a very short period of time.
But Facebook says that Haugen only had a limited view of research and policy decisions at the social media firm and pointed that out during her testimony. Facebook's head of global safety appeared before senators.
Has Facebook ever found a change to its platform would potentially inflict harm on users, but move forward because the change would also grow users or increase revenue?
Has not been my experience at all at Facebook. We care deeply about the safety and security of the people on our platform. We've invested $12 billion in it. We have thousands and thousands of people working on this issue. That's just not how we would approach it.
We've had Facebook, in testimonies at hearings, also always saying they're going to do better, they're going to do different, and then they walk away and nothing happens or nothing majorly happens. And I think that this is the first time that that's being documented about all the things that they actually had information about, things that they could have done, and they just didn't do it.
Some are comparing Facebook to a pivotal moment in the cigarette industries.
Facebook and big tech are facing a big tobacco moment, a moment of reckoning. When we learned of those files that showed not only that big tobacco knew that its product caused cancer, but that they had done the research, they concealed the files.
It remains to be seen if lawmakers and regulators will act to curtail Facebook's alleged harm. And it's not clear how Facebook will respond, even if the calls for change originate from within. Tina Trin, VOA News.
And that's all for us this week. On behalf of VOA and my colleagues on Our Voices, thank you for being with us. Until next time, have a great day.